Hello, this is a video about solving linear systems of equations using the elimination method. Now, the elimination method is also called the linear combination method. And we often use elimination when our two equations are both in standard form. And our goal of solving these linear systems using elimination comes down to one aspect, and that's to find opposite coefficients. And remember that the word opposite means like one's a positive number and one's a negative number. So if I'm thinking of opposite numbers like -3 and +3 would be opposite. And remember that coefficients are simply the numbers that are in front of your variable. So if I had, say, the number 5x, okay, that term, my coefficient is going to be the number 5. Okay, so it's important that we understand some of that vocabulary before we move on. Okay, now let's look at an example where we can use elimination in an easy method. Okay, so in this example, I'm trying to solve the system of equations. Remember, I'm trying to find the x value and I'm trying to find the y value. And what I'm looking for is opposite coefficients. Okay, so I look at my numbers in front of my variables. And if I don't have a number, then my number is going to be 1. All right, so I'm going to put those in here real quick, that this is a -1 times x and a 1 times x and a 1 times y. So what I'm looking for are opposites. So I'm looking for the positive and negative of the same number. And I see that here, okay? So when I have those together, all I then do is I add my equations together. Because what that's going to do is these two numbers, when I have opposite coefficients, those are going to cancel out and add to 0. All right, hence the word elimination. So then I just add down and combine my like terms. So 1y plus 2y is going to give me a total of 3y. 2 plus 7 is going to give me a value of 9. Okay, so what I have here is I have an equation that the only variable I have is y, and I can solve for y. And if I divide both sides by 3, then I get that y is equal to 3. Okay, so I have solved for one of my variables. Now, the next thing I'm looking for is I want to solve this equation for x. So what I want to do now is I want to take this number and substitute it back into either one of my equations here, and it doesn't matter which one. I'm going to choose the bottom one because that doesn't have any negative numbers in it, okay? So if I plug it into the bottom equation, I'm going to get x plus 2 times y, but instead of writing y, I'm going to write what y is equal to, which is 3, and substitute 3 in for y, and that's going to give me 7, okay? So now I solve this equation for x, and so I have x plus 2 times 3 gives me 6, and that's equal to 7. I'm going to subtract both sides by 6, and I get that x is equal to +1. So I've solved for y, I've solved for x, and I write my solution as an ordered pair. Remember, my solution is simply where these two lines intersect, and that's going to be the point 1, 3. Okay, and that's my answer. Let's look at another solution. So in this example, not solution, sorry, I should have said example earlier, but in this example, both of these equations are in standard form, meaning that x and y are on the same side of the equal sign, and I'm looking for opposite coefficients, okay? And I don't have that. I have a 2 and a 4, 5 and a 3. So what I want to do is I want to create opposite coefficients. And in order to do that, I have to choose which variable I want to get rid of. In this example, I want to eliminate my x because 2 can be multiplied by 2 to get 4. All right? And remember that they have to be opposite, so I'm going to multiply this by a -2. And I'm going to multiply every term by a -2. So as a result, my new equation, -2 times 2 is going to give me -4x. -2 times +5 is going to give me -10y. And -2 times 1 is going to give me -2. So once I have these two equations, I want to add them together because now I have opposite coefficients, okay? And I can eliminate my x value. So 4x plus a -4x cancels out and gives me 0. It gets eliminated, hence the name, elimination. And then I have 3y minus 10y. And that's going to give me a negative 7y. And then negative 5 plus a negative 2 is going to give me a negative 7. So if I divide both sides by negative 7, I can solve this equation for y, and I get that y is going to equal 1. Okay, so that's my value that I found for y. Now, I want to take this value and plug it into one of these other equations to solve for x. Okay, it doesn't matter which one, but I'm going to choose the one up here because this one has the smallest numbers. Okay, and I prefer to work with smaller numbers. That's just a personal preference. But I'm going to plug in 1 for y. So I'm going to rewrite my equation, 2x plus 5, and instead of writing y, I'm going to write what y is equal to, which is 1. So 5 times 1, and that's equal to 1. Now, I've got, let's solve this equation for x. I've got 2x plus 5 times 1, which is 5, is equal to 1. I'm going to subtract 5 from both sides, and I end up getting that 2x is equal to negative 4. Divide both sides by 2, divide by 2, and I get that x is equal to negative 2. And that's my value for x, okay? So now remember what we have here. I have an x value, I have a y value. I'm looking for a solution, which in this case is going to be negative 2, comma 1, okay? That's the idea for elimination. I hope you enjoyed this video, and we'll see you soon. Thanks. Bye.